everybody. Today we are talking about children and their emotions.
Yes.
I'm Robin and this is Sonia and we are Bali Mounts on the go.
Yes. So actually, we're talking about how crazy our children are.
Yes.
No, actually, we're talking about how they're learning to be not crazy.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We're a little crazy sometimes ourselves.
Yeah. So from biological perspective for the emotion, understanding the emotion and how we regulate and learn to process emotion, express emotions. So the scientific approach is that when the child is growing from 0 up to around 7 years old, okay, so let's simplify. 3 parts of the brain. One part on the back, which is the primitive emotion, like run, fight, freeze.
Yeah.
So when the child will just like run or stomp their feet or this kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's the physical expression of the emotion. That's on the back. Then you have a middle part here, which is like more emotions like cry, sad, happiness, like oh no. And you have the front part, which is like regulation. It's like the part who try to like get feedback to all these 2 parts.
Yeah.
It's like slow down on your stomping and then hitting and beating or whatever. Yeah. And then slow down on your happiness, sadness, cry, and this kind of thing.
And reading the cues of the external. Yeah.
So when the child is growing, so this part, regulation, is not there yet. When the newborn is born, it's not there yet, and it works and it just grows. And it grows when you parents or educator or adults give feedback on the child behavior, control, meltdown, craziness. And it's just like, growing. So when you teach your child about emotion, it will help the child understanding that, okay, when the child is crying because it doesn't have this super nice box from the supermarket and it's like, where was looking for? It's like, instead of like, no, you won't have it. It's like, oh, I understand that you're sad because you were expecting to have this nice treat box of chocolate. You give feedbacks and it takes time.
Yeah, it's a learning process.
So know that by encouraging your child to understand the way he feels, why he may feel that way, what the needs are, you're helping the child processing the feelings, the emotion, and then learning to just regulate. So this part is growing more.
Yeah, and we have to just be careful because sometimes we have a difficult time. Moms are tired. We're overworked, we're over scheduled, and all of these things. And so sometimes our own emotions are not being regulated as much as they could, or we're having a hard time handling the intensity of the emotions of our kids. And so often we are contributing. Yeah, we're contributing to the situation versus calming the situation. And it's not a judgment. It's just the truth. It's just what's happening, And so we have to take that moment. And we talked before about the 6 seconds that the brain between the subconscious and the conscious mind. So if we're reacting prior to that 6 seconds, if we're acting or reacting within that moment, then we're coming from an emotional place, not a logical place. And so often we're just building fire on fire and we're making the situation worse, And so we have to really monitor ourselves. We have to regulate ourselves while we're teaching our children how to regulate themselves.
So we have to work on 2 people or more if you have more children at the same time having the crisis. So
and your husband.
Yes. So work around that and know that it's a process to be better at managing your emotions and managing your children's emotions.
Yeah, and recognizing that I shouldn't say that. Most of the time, they are not doing any of it with any intention whatsoever, because it is a thing that it's not a behavior that they've come to learn yet, or it is not a part of their brain that is developed enough so they can learn that yet. And that's why sometimes you're like, I told you 10,000 times. It takes that many times for that part of the brain to begin to develop.
So they have to grow.
And it's well into their teens that they are still not completely developed on that yet. And with teenagers, that's where I'm at. You have the addition of hormonal influence. And so you've got this partially developed, obviously they've come a little bit further than say a 3-year-old, but you've maybe heard of a 3-nager, they are having tantrums and things like that too, because now they've got this sort of underdeveloped piece of their brain plus hormones. And so, what a recipe.
You have to work around that and understand that it's because it's happening. And not put all your expectations, sometimes high expectations, like, no, I say it's time to go to bed. And the child just cries like, but I want to play again. It's like, no, it's time to go. It's like you have expectation that the child will go to bed earlier, maybe. So you have to help the child understand, like, okay, if you don't go to bed right now, you'll be tired tomorrow, so you will not enjoy your play date with your friend or whatever they're doing.
And they may not even get it.
No,
You know, like
but it's by repetition
yeah.
that after maybe a full year or something, that they will get it.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to work on your patience, and that's where, that's
absolutely. Yeah, that's what we have to work on as parents. We have to work on our patience. And so I want you to remember that 6-second rule.
Yes.
It's a lifesaver. It helps in other situations as well, not just with your kids, but count.
Yes.
You know, you've heard count to 10. That's where that comes from, right? Because our subconscious brain is the reactor, and our conscious brain is where, you know, that sort of intention comes from. So if we're reacting all the time from our subconscious brain, often that is coming from an emotional place. And as women, we also have periods of time throughout the month where we're hormonal as well. So you know, when you're dealing with teenagers, you've got hormones on hormones, and
we get more like trigger each other, like what did you say? What did you say?
It can get a little crazy.
So just be patient and know that it's a process for your children. It's a process for you to grow as a better parents.
We're all learning. We're all learning. And so one of the analogies, though, that I use too with littles is they're much more in the moment than we are. We're often 10 steps ahead of where they are. And so, you know, like I use the analogy of when they're tying their shoe and you need to go. You know, so it's like, put your shoes on, and they're trying to put their shoe on, but they're like taking their time tying their shoe, because in their mind, in their world, that is the most important thing, is learning how to tie my shoe. You know, like it's like the only thing that matters to them in that moment. While you are already at the grocery store, or already at work, or already
expecting to like, hey, you said like leaving in 2 minutes. It's like,
so then when you say to them, let's go, we gotta go, you know, we sort of create this anxiety because they're taking their moment to tie their shoe. That's all they can think about, you know. And so we have to be a little bit more aware. And so in that situation, if you do have to go, that's cool. Maybe they can tie their shoe in the car, but don't take the moment away from them. Right?
As much as possible.
So
then so they can learn and learn whatever they're doing.
Well, and we can learn from that too. We can learn to better be in the moment.
So, exactly. So that's why the 6 seconds and the breathing is like, okay, take a deep breath. It's not what you expect it to be. The situation is like, okay, and observe. Okay, the child is doing that. Is it something that is really that he needs or you need to? So just pause and then just observe the situation and see how to move forward, and then together.
And with your teenagers, you need to take that moment. You need to take that moment, because they aren't going to. You know, they don't know how. And that's something they're learning. They're also learning to become adults. Like there's this whole dichotomy occurring where they're getting all of this hormonal shift. They're trying to become independent, and we're trying to hold them back a little bit. You know, so there's this whole sort of situation going on that's really just a recipe for fire. And so we have to just take a moment and recognize that this is a human being that's trying to be an adult, and it's really important that we guide them on that way, and that we're not always on them.
And what I find key also to understand all the emotions, because we tend not to have the vocabulary to express all those emotions that we have. We were taught to just not express them.
Totally.
So like embrace them, all the emotion that is rising for you, all your children. Like just embrace them. It's like, okay, I can see anger here.
See it, recognize it.
Sadness, frustration, stress, whatever, but name them and understand why they are here. What the needs behind.
Naming them is really important. We should make a whole video on that too. But giving them identity is really helpful.
We did one. We did one about ego, and then some of the emotions. So some of it. So
should we do our insight?
So okay, let's talk about our body minds inside. The first one. So, as we say, the children are learning to express their emotion. It takes time. They're learning to be themselves and be where they are at. So you have to work with that.
Second one. We have a lot of power in calming or firing up that situation, and so we have to remember that we have that power, and if we make a decision, we can utilize that.
It's like, what are you bringing in this situation?
Sorry.
So what are you bringing in the situation when the child is triggered at that time?
Exactly.
And the third one is
the hormonal
hormones.
influence.
Ooh. So yeah, you have to understand that these impact you.
Yeah.
And
yeah, recognizing that they're there, understanding that what that is, and as women, we have a unique viewpoint on hormones because we experience them as well. So yeah, see it.
Yeah.
And then that will help you again. If we can identify, that makes a huge difference in how we react, how we act. Yeah.
So understand that in this journey of emotion, we as parents, adults, and children are growing and learning to be better.
Yeah.
And manage and regulate our
Together.
emotions better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a learning pattern.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.